Yeah, it's hard not to look ahead to this weekend and the opening exchanges in Serie A without a smile on your face, particularly after the feel-good story that was Italy on the football pitch this summer. Let's get across to a man who I'm sure enjoyed that as much as anybody, Adriano Del Monte, who joins us in the last days of his well-earned summer holiday. Adriano, good to have you with us. I know you're going back to Milan for this weekend's big kickoff. I'm going to throw a graphic at you here. You're going to have to make sure you get your head around all of this. I mentioned 12 changes, all change with these managers. Incredible. And the big ones as well, from Juventus to Inter to Roma to Napoli, Lazio. Everybody was changing managers, and those are just the big hitters here. Have you ever known a season like this?
I've never known a season like this, and obviously we haven't even got started just yet, John. But great to be with you as always. Well, what a dramatic off-season it has been in Italy. Obviously the European Championships, but now heading into Serie A. So many changes, some personnel changes as well. But for me, it does add that added sense of anticipation and excitement ahead of what will be a hotly contested Serie A campaign. The big one there, the return of Allegri to Juventus, quite incredible. Obviously, the well-documented departure of Conte from Inter, but you're right, 12 clubs making changes in the off-season. Really expect the unexpected in Italy in the 21-22 campaign.
Yeah, that's a lovely way to start things off. You mentioned Allegri there. They start as favourites once again. Of course, their run of Scudettos was snapped by Inter last year, so they turned to the man who delivered 5 in a row. So, pole position, you can see where I got that Formula One idea from for the top of the show. Let's move on, though, in terms of transfer business. They're not in a great shape financially, Juventus, who is these days, but Manuel Locatelli from Sassuolo, the deal reported as being done, just a medical. I think I'll get Adriano's take on that in just a moment. Now, that would be a significant signing, a bit of a plus, because otherwise the news has been very much dominated with, stories and maybe silly stories about Cristiano Ronaldo reportedly offered to Manchester City, reportedly rejected. He went on his Instagram to issue this long statement and to reaffirm his commitment to this football club. So really interesting to see exactly what is happening there. Let's have a look at the transfer business, and Adriano, I'll bring you in here. I think it's probably fair to say that, that they're not in as much trouble as some clubs, but they've got a bit of a financial hole right now. And the Ronaldo situation is because he earns so much, isn't it?
Well, it is. Well, let's start there with Ronaldo. Obviously, Locatelli coming in. He's doing a medical currently as we speak. So expected official announcement either today or tomorrow. Wonderful news, because he is certainly a talent for the future and a potential long-term player for Juventus. But in the case of Ronaldo, you're right. A salary that earns north of 30 million euro net potentially has limited the progress of players like Dybala and others, Morata up top. But so much of the focus has been on Ronaldo, given the investment that has been put into Now, he has delivered on the pitch. He has delivered off the pitch for them, no doubt about that. But for this Juventus team, who have been eliminated earlier than they would have liked in the Champions League in his 3 seasons at the club, the questions have been asked for many months now. Do they persist with him for another season, or do they find a new home for him? And the latter has been very difficult in the off-season, hence why we've seen so many reports about his future. And he did take to Instagram to say, basically, I'm content, I want to be respected with my current state and where I'm at. But he didn't mention anything about Juventus. There was no close by saying Forza Juve or anything along those lines. So a few Juve fans still questioning what the future holds with Ronaldo. But as things currently stand, 1 year remaining on his current Juve deal, and we are anticipating he will play that season here in Italy with Juventus, but obviously potentially looking to move on in 12 months' time.
I'll get your take a little bit later on who you expect to win, but I think Adriano and many others would say that they are down as favourites right now. And as much as anything, it's because of the chaos that occurred just days after Conte led them to that famous Scudetto triumph, because of course he departed. There was always going to be the departure of Lukaku. That was on the cards from the moment Chelsea decided he was their man. And they've been putting up a wall, i.e. they've been trying to get something going to go into this season. Inzaghi was always going to come in as coach. That's happened. But what about signings, and what about what they do to protect the assets they have? Well, there was a lot of noise last week about the Flying Dutchman, Denzel Dumfries, because he was so lively, of course, particularly early on at Euro 2020. So they're looking for positives. But the key to this one would be protecting what they have as well. And there was a lot of talk about Lautaro Martinez being linked with Spurs in particular, should Harry Kane leave. Secure Lautaro was the message of this article here. This is a horrible way to go into a season, Adriano. We can take a look at the business that has been done. And as you can see, losing Hakimi, that's a massive loss as well. It's hard to feel that they're not going to be affected.
Well, it's on the pitch very tough to look at those outs. Lukaku, obviously the Serie A MVP last season. Hakimi, easily one of the best in his position in world football. And sure, they bring in a lot of money for that duo to alleviate some of the financial stress and pressure at the club, obviously. But, well, what does the future hold for an Inter club who were exceptional just a few months ago? But look, to be fair to Simone Inzaghi, the new manager who has come in and replaced Conte, I think this squad perfectly suits the football that he would like to play. Now, he has brought in Dumfries and obviously Edin Dzeko as well. Yeah. And I do feel that in terms of personnel, while not the same level of quality as Lukaku and Hakimi, and with all due respect to Inzaghi, not at the same level as Conte, I still do feel this is a nice fit for coach and squad. So I do think that Inter can still compete. Whether or not they have enough to match the favourites Juventus and a few of the other teams who are certainly in with a shot, well, time will tell. But I still do see some positives about this Inter team. But going forward, obviously the financial issues off the pitch, that has dominated headlines for them in the off-season.
Yeah, which makes it almost even more remarkable that they actually managed to win the thing. Just a bit of feedback here. Remember, you can get onto our Facebook page and ask us questions, send in your comments as much as you would like to. Victor saying Inter would be considerably weaker as Lukaku and Hakimi departures, as they would like to have kept them both, if not because of their financial woes. That's right, that's what we just said. Remains to be seen if the signings will go some way towards replacing the duo. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move it along right now to a side that we're going to do third. I don't think it means they'll necessarily finish third. I'm interested to see what Adriano says, but it's because of the Mourinho factor. Back in Italy, of course, this time with Roma, a lively pre-season. Red carded once already and all sorts of things going on here, including signings. Let's have a little look at the major stories as far as they're concerned. He's turned his attention to his former club Chelsea and Tammy Abraham in a big money deal as the guy that he's brought in, with Dzeko leaving the club, of course, to come and help them get into that title zone. This is really interesting here because we look at the business done. Shomurodov has done well representing Asia, of course, in terms of pre-season goals. If you look at what they have to work with, Adriano, I'm not sure that is a Scudetto winning squad, but of course all the focus will be on the head coach.
Well, that's right. We know that Mourinho will bring plenty of entertainment and drama into the season, as he's already done. You mentioned a nice red card to get his life at Roma underway in the pre-season. Rui Patricio comes in goal as well. Look, there are some interesting names to be added to an already very talented Roma squad, and I think that is now the hope, I guess, for the Roma owners, that the experienced tactician that is Mourinho can really bring out the best in this talented young Roma squad. Pellegrini, a key player who has really come on in recent seasons. Nicolo Zaniolo, who hopefully gets back to his best after 2 knee reconstructions. And yes, the departure of Dzeko will hurt, but hopefully in Tammy Abraham, a player who has scored 30 goals across the last couple of seasons with Chelsea, has obviously played and trained with a number of the world's very best players. That could be the player to unlock the potential of this Roma team. So look, there is still some excitement about Roma, but certainly with the arrival of Mourinho, we're guaranteed entertainment. You're guaranteed the unexpected. I'm really excited to see the capital club, hopefully at their best in the 21-22 season.
Yeah, here. And although there'll be a lot of talk, as Adriano said, about him looking to re-establish his credentials, it's the youth and the talent in that squad that I'm really looking forward to seeing in action. This is potentially a wide-open Serie A campaign. When we come back after this break, we'll have a look at not 3, but 4 more clubs that you might argue will be in the mix. Thanks for all the feedback, guys. Addy's saying the Serie A championship will be decided by managerial tactical masterclass. Well, I hope so. The experience of Allegri, a slight advantage, followed closely by Gasperini, Inzaghi and Pioli. Do not disregard Mourinho's Roma. We would never do that. I think we've just spoken about that. Wesley, this may be the most open Serie A title race in years, you say. Defending champions Inter selling to survive. Juve going back to a familiar name. AC largely staying still. And the return of the so-called special one who won the treble with Inter in his last run. Not sure of the quality, but it should be a close title race. Okay, all right, well, we'll find out. Johnny Michael Tan says distractions in Juventus with Ronaldo's link to Real Madrid. Supremacy race between Milan, Rome and Torino, and the Mourinho actor factor. Oh, I like that. It'll be spiced up Serie A, you say. How Inter Milan handles its financial dilemma will also be a constant headline. Yeah, there we go. I think we're covering all of these subjects, aren't we? We're back with Adriano's thoughts in just a moment. Welcome back. We're looking ahead to the brand new Serie A season, which kicks off this weekend. We've looked at 3 clubs who might be in the mix for the title already. What about AC Milan? Now, this headline here is a funny old one. I've translated it as changes its skin. It could be sheds its skin, but for a team that wears stripes, it could be changes its spots, because there's talk that they might be a little bit more creative. There might be a little bit more flair about them. Let's have a little look at the other talking point, and that would be the arrival of the evergreen Olivier Giroud, seen as a beautiful signing and one from which maybe they can soar in terms of their goal scoring and their results. Adriano Del Monte is with me. We're going to just have a little look at these signings. Interesting in terms of the business done. Tomori, good business for Chelsea, I think that. Best part of 30 million euros there. They've been busy. Are they going to be a different Milan for you?
I think it's a tough one to predict, AC Milan this season. Their first return to the UEFA Champions League for the best part of 8 years, and obviously juggling those commitments with their Serie A challenge. It may be a tough season, but there are a lot of names in that squad, and one was mentioned in that article, Sandro Tonali, one of the key youngsters in Italian football, certainly for Milan, who I do feel really needs to take that next step this season if Milan are to compete on all fronts. But first things first, we'll see how they fare under Pioli off the back of, well, what was in the end a successful campaign back in the Champions League, as I said. But I think once the fixtures start to pile up for Pioli's men, well, I do have a few question marks at this point. But I am excited by the Giroud signing. Obviously, Tomori did prove his worth at the club, so there's still some quality in this squad that I do feel can take them a long way this campaign. And obviously Zlatan, his last season, we think, as a professional footballer as well.
All right, so much to look forward to there. Now, there's one club that everyone seems to be talking about, and we'll get to in just a moment. Wes wrote in saying, with the established giants in various woes and uncertainty, really hope that Atalanta can win the Serie A this season. Will be deserving reward for the fantastic football they've served up for the past few years. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of love for the club from Bergamo, and we've seen that, of course, in the European stage and what they've done domestically. This was interesting. They actually played Juventus. They lost to Juventus a few days back, and it was Massimiliano Allegri who, before the game, turned around and said, hey, these guys will be title contenders. They are going to be competing with us for this one. So let's have a little look at the business that they have done. A couple of key players on the out. What do you make of Atalanta's prospects, Adriano?
I have them right up there as a serious threat, and I agree with the comment in terms of all the other big clubs. They do have their own issues. I do feel that Atalanta are quite possibly the best team, the best unit that remain in Serie A at this point in time. They remind me a lot of Italy in the European Championships. Perhaps not the most stars on paper, but the unity, the team, and what they've done together over the years. I think the core of this group under Gasperini can really maximise their potential this season. So I have them right up there to challenge the very best. And yes, they have lost a couple of key players, particularly Romero, who went to Tottenham. Golini, also the goalkeeper, went to Tottenham as well. But Demiral comes in, a highly rated Turkish international from Juventus. And I think Gasperini has proven that many players who join his system, he brings the best out of them. And I feel that if Demiral can really lead the line defensively alongside some talented players as well, this is an Atalanta team who will be even stronger than last season. And they've already proven that they can balance Champions League commitments with Serie A as well. So a really exciting campaign for Atalanta.
Yeah, and I really like that parallel you draw with Italy. They'll play on the front foot. If they can do something as progressive as that Mancini side, won't that be fun to watch again? All right, let's get into a side that, of course, was always in the wars. There was always drama, wasn't there? And the De Laurentiis Gattuso thing finally came to a head. Now the diversion is Insigne, and interesting about that diversion in terms of fun. You know, a fun distraction, a positive, maybe something that they can actually take forward. Let's have a little look at what they've done as a club, because, of course, managerial change has been a part of their life as well. What's happened with Napoli, Adriano, off the pitch, financially, and how are they placed?
Well, they've had a quieter off-season than some of the other clubs. How are they placed coming in under Spalletti, a manager who obviously previously with Inter a couple of seasons back? Look, similar to Atalanta, but I feel a little less quality. They do have a very balanced, united squad. Now, let's not forget that Napoli were only minutes away from securing a top-4 finish at the end of last season on the final match day, but they failed to win against Verona at home, denying themselves of Champions League football, which incredibly would have meant that Juventus would have been in the Europa League. So it is a Napoli team that were fairly consistent under Gattuso last season. A few question marks over Spalletti coming in, but I do feel that he has potentially the breakout player of the season in the squad in Victor Osimhen, a player who made the big money move from Ligue 1 the season prior, had a difficult first season in Italy with COVID, with international commitments and some injuries as well that took place. And I do feel that he could be one of the best players in the competition this season. I think if he can fire alongside the likes of Insigne, Mertens and all the other star attacking players they have, Napoli could certainly push for a top-4 finish. But a few question marks for Spalletti on his return to Serie A.
Well, lastly, it seems to make sense to move on to Maurizio Sarri now, and Lazio will be the last club that we look at here. He's back in the big time. The chain-smoking gaffer is back. And what do they do? Okay, well, let's have a little look at what they do in terms of whether they can put enough into the side in terms of quality to be able to really challenge consistently at the top. What do you think, Adriano?
Well, I think this could be one of the most interesting teams this season. Let's not forget Maurizio Sarri in his previous 2 clubs. Chelsea won the Europa League, Juventus won the Scudetto, and then obviously was dismissed, and Pirlo was his replacement. This is a manager who is only getting better and better with experience. His story is well documented. And I think similarly to Simone Inzaghi and Inter Milan, I think Maurizio Sarri with this Lazio squad has the perfect squad to play his style of football. I think with Ciro Immobile up top, there could be plenty of goals on offer. The likes of Milinkovic-Savic and Luis Alberto in midfield. There is just so much quality to bring out the best in the Sarri style of play. And I think Lazio could be a dark horse this season to surprise a few. I don't think too many will predict that they finish in the top 4, but I certainly feel they could well and truly finish in the top 4 and potentially even challenge the top couple. So they're one I'm a little uncertain about, but with the arrival of Sarri, probably the newest manager at a new club that I have a lot of excitement about watching and seeing how it all unfolds.
Well, you started leading us towards that top 4. Let's get into your predictions then. So we started off by asking Adriano who he thought would make the top 4. We've also gone for individual performances, and we're going to go for relegation. So let's have a look at the top 4. You've gone Juve, Atalanta, Inter, Roma. What was the hardest pick out of those 4?
All 4, John. Look, I think Juventus with Allegri, the arrival of Locatelli, the midfield will be stronger. Chiesa has gone to another level. I just can't see Juventus not winning this season. I think they will be back to their best, but Atalanta for me will be the team to push them, and Inter with the quality that they have, I still think can round out the top 3. Honestly, Roma 4th was the toughest prediction. Who knows which Mourinho we get, and with the quality of Lazio, Napoli and Milan, it's anyone's guess as to what happens there. I do feel Immobile can win the Capocannoniere award for top goal scorer under Sarri. I think it will suit his style perfectly. And, well, the bottom 3, tough to predict so early on. Obviously,
I don't like pushing you on that. I don't like pushing people too much on relegation. It's not really not the right spirit of things here. Just a quick look at the opening round of matches. In fact, the opening couple of rounds of matches, we were discussing this before we came on air, Adriano. There's no major clashes between the big clubs for the first 2 weeks, right? Which theoretically should see things build up nicely towards, what, the international break?
Yeah, I think so. 2 rounds before the international break, and from match day 3 onwards, we do start to see a few very nice fixtures coming together. So hopefully, for the sake of the competition, the big boys can get the wins. We go into an international break with a few teams on 6 points, making it all the more dramatic when we get into the thick of the season.
And I'd imagine you'll be kicking off back in Milan with that Genoa game, right?
I will. Inter Milan, Genoa, the defending champions in action. Should be an interesting one this weekend.
Yeah, lovely. All right, great. Well, we've spoken specifically about, 7 clubs and a few others along the way as well. When we come back, we're going to talk more broadly about what we expect from football in Italy this season. And I'm thinking feel-good factor. Well, we've had our say. How about you guys here? Johnny says, wouldn't be surprised if Sarri's Lazio outshines Mourinho's Roma. Yeah, every chance of that. Imran would love to see Milan or Atalanta win, or at least challenge for the title, in for an exciting season. Game on, you say. Yeah, lots of people are throwing top 4s at us and having a bit of fun, which is good news. Atalanta, Juve, Inter, and then Milan, says Wesley. G says Juventus, Roma, Milan, Atalanta. It's the same old names, but they're all kind of mixed up, aren't they? This should be fun. It should be fun. All right, we're going to come back with a few more minutes talking about Italian football in just a moment. We've been looking ahead to the launch of the new Serie A season. Let's just broaden things to Italian football in general. And this caught my eye earlier in this week. It was a branding company that put out this finding and talked about a €4 billion euro boost for Italy's economy, for the football clubs, for the football ecosystem, for the infrastructure, for the players, of course, themselves. Let's break it down in ways in which that victory at Euro 2020 is going to benefit Italy as a whole. I think, obviously, you look at what happened in terms of the country, especially coming out of lockdown. Far increased consumer spending, particularly on socialising, on food and drink, and going out and generally spending money. Massive increase in sponsorship for the national team, money coming in there. There was a lot of money shared around amongst the players for actually winning it, bonus payments there. And of course, the individuals themselves, their value, their price tags. There's so many players whose value have gone up so much. Adriano Del Monte is with me, of course, today. And, you know, I'm looking for, we talked a lot about Juve earlier on. I mean, Chiesa, for me, I'm so looking forward to seeing Chiesa in action once again. There are a number of players. There's a lot of reasons to feel good about going to watch Italian football this season.
Absolutely. The Euro 2020 finals is arguably the most special moment in Italian football history, both on and off the pitch. You mentioned, obviously, COVID reasons. Italy, one of the very first countries the first country in Europe that really dealt with the outbreak and the devastation it did cause here. And obviously on the pitch, after missing the 2018 World Cup in equally devastating circumstances in terms of on the pitch, it's to turn around so quickly has been remarkable to see here. And what it has done for the nation has been very special. Yes, the players obviously now forever champions, forever legends of Italian football. Roberto Mancini, his story obviously so beautiful and well documented as well, and all of his support staff. So what it has done for Italy as a nation, putting them back on the top of the European game, absolutely brilliant. And obviously now already a lot of optimism heading into next year's FIFA World Cup as well. But look, a really special time, and we're hoping for an equally special Serie A season. We've already discussed how competitive it would be, but great to see Italy celebrate and after a difficult 18 months enjoy football, what they love more than anything.
Yeah, very good point. Looking forward to seeing some of the stars of Euro 20 in action once again. Just one last thing. Somebody who won't be involved is the guy who failed to deliver the Scudetto to Juventus for once, and that was Andrea Pirlo. I saw this lovely interview with James Horncastle did for The Athletic. If you get a chance to read it, read it. It's a shame he's away. He seems happy enough. He said he loved everything about the summer watching Italy. I just wonder if we'll see him back at some point.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he had one of the toughest jobs in the modern game. He was going for a 10th straight Scudetto with Juventus, had absolutely no time whatsoever to prepare, played in front of no fans, and really, as a novice, as a rookie manager, he did not have anywhere near enough time to really instill his methods and ideas on this team. So I'm sure we'll see him back at some point. He's already said he's open to moving abroad, but he is one of the most adored figures in Italian football in our history. So hopefully we see him again soon.
Absolutely. And by the way, he did say he would never, ever compromise on his footballing principles and always try and play football. Adriano, I think we've covered a heck of a lot of ground in a relatively short amount of time. I'm indebted to you for that. Thanks for giving us a really good season preview. Enjoy the season and we'll see you again soon.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Cheers then, and thanks to all of you for being with us. We'll see you again on Friday. Until then, goodbye.